Happy Monday. All right, I've moved the office outside. It's official. I love it. So we are today, and I've got myself up and I'm moving. We are going to talk today about moving, what that can look like for your entire family, right? Because so often we hear how difficult it is, and I totally get it, depending on what stage of life you're in, right? Getting everybody to move, right? And we're really in a time now where we have things like, electronics and kids on all different sorts of pieces of equipment, and we're all working from computers. So our goal is to get moving, and then how do we get them moving as well? Okay, so we today I want to give you, and my intention is to really help you create a plan that suits your entire family and something that you guys can do together. So if we haven't met yet, my name's Dylan Miller, and I am so passionate about educating and just motivating others to really achieve optimal health, right? Because if you are in optimal health, that means you are rising up to be the best version of yourself. That is pretty much all I'm interested in, okay? But it's not something that I can do for you. It is something only you can do for you, okay? And even more, I am so passionate about teaching this next generation about the importance of this lifestyle, right? And it's not just movement, it's nutrition, it's toxic load, it's stress management, it's sleep management, it's all of those things that we struggle with, right? Imagine what it would look like if we can teach our kids this stuff now, right? Or that we can teach them now, and imagine how much different they will function as adults, right? If that's what it's looking like. So I love helping to educate them now so that they have more just informed decision-making processes throughout their lives. So if that at all interests you, stick with me, okay? What we do know about fitness, and you can call it fitness, you can call it movement, you can call it whatever you want. All we know is that exercise is important for our health regardless of your age, right? But we do really know, do you really know why, right? At the end of the day, it becomes our bodies are designed to move. Our nomadic ancestors were very incredibly active, okay? And they had to do this because they had to move their bodies for survival. They had to hunt our food. They had to gather our food. They had to run from predators. So while our food supply is not, contingent on our fitness level anymore, our bodies have still evolved in such a way that regular physical activity is so necessary for us to develop as individuals, okay? So what happens if we kind of fight the fitness evolution, right? If we kind of go against the grain and don't change some of the habits that we have formed. We see the proof is in the statistics, right? You have things like obesity that are on the rise, right? And obesity is a disease that it doesn't discriminate, right? Adults and children are all at risk for gaining weight, depending on so many risk factors, with special attention that needs to be brought to their diet and their physical activity. So, one in 3 children and 2 out of every 3 adults are either right now overweight or obese within North America. Okay. And this is I just got goosebumps. This is a really alarming statistic. Okay. And regular exercise can prevent not just excess weight, but it can also help to maintain your current weight and really help promote healthy and sustainable weight loss, right? Not eating is not an option, right? You might think it's an option, but it is not a sustainable option. So if you tuned into this right now for me to tell you some crazy, get fast, non-sustainable weight loss solution, you may as well just turn me off right now, because it's not going to happen. The key is eating whole foods and then calories in minus calories out, right? So, while this formula doesn't always tell the whole story of how weight loss and weight management actually happens, it's an easy concept to keep in your head, right? The calories that we take in represents the food that you eat, right? So calories out determines by the amount that you exert yourself with physical activity. So aside from the calories that your body is burning at rest, by means of things like digestion, circulation, breathing, pooping, peeing, sweating, all those natural processes that we have, we need to stimulate that, right? So sitting for 8 hours and doing this, and we talked about this last week when we really wanted to focus on getting moving at work. There's all these things that we have to do to support our body, and so much of that comes from moving. So this doesn't mean that you have to, go out and join some crazy program that doesn't, meet your lifestyle or your optimal, health goals or your weight goals. It's all about being just conscious of the choices to add some activity into your regular routine. So I want to dive in because there are some very valuable benefits to doing this. So improving your physical fitness lowers your risk of so many diseases. Okay. And that's so strong in my core on what I want to emphasize to you guys. Okay. So many of the diseases that are occurring within North America today and globally, right? Because we're teaching poor nutrition in lots of parts of the world, I think with good intentions to help get high calories in. But now we're seeing huge issues in other parts of the world where they didn't exist even 30, 40 years ago. Anyways, I digress. It lowers your risk of disease, but it also does things like strengthening your immune system. And again, so many of the autoimmune or the immune system issues that we're having, I mean, we're coming out of cold and flu season now, right? But how many families, if it wasn't yours, how many do you know that just spent the last 6 months on a rotation of antibiotics? Right? Because sick, and then the other person got sick, and then the next person got sick, right? The immune system is essentially the body's defense system, okay? And exercise improves the body's ability to transport the nutrients and the oxygen and all of those things that are running your body right now. They're fuel to the cells within your body. And those cells, that fuel for those cells, that's what's fighting off all of those foreign pathogens that we are kind of taking in and exposed to on a regular basis. So adding in some regular physical activity really equips your body to fight off the invaders, I guess, more efficiently as you're exposed to them. Because it's not a matter of if you're exposed to them, it's a matter of when, right? But it's up to you to create your own armor versus, donning and doffing PPE, your personal protective equipment, every time you have to, step out of your house, right? And that's the thing. If you have little kids like I do, you can't even control what comes in your house, right? So other things that I do, I mean, we're talking about movement today specifically, but obviously I'm diffusing really high antioxidant plants all the time to help boost our immune system, kill those airborne pathogens, eating whole foods on a regular basis and supplementing properly, right? Making sure that I'm taking my lifelong vitality vitamins, that I'm consuming probiotics and digestive enzymes, so the Terrazyme, to help digest my food so that my body's not working so hard, right? And I can speak on behalf of my household. Our toxic load is so low that, again, our bodies aren't guessing what's going on, right? Because I don't expose us to that within our home, but it doesn't mean we're not going to be exposed to it outside, right? The idea is keep your body from guessing it and keep all those major organs in tip-top shape, okay? Did you know that 1 in every 4 deaths within North America is attributed to heart disease, okay? 1 in 4. That's craziness. So while there's, again, different lifestyle factors that contribute to this horrendous statistic, there's a few that are especially responsible for things, it's poor diet, it's physical inactivity, and it's really high blood pressure, right? So are we living um, uh, lifestyles that are, stress managed, I guess, right? And what does that look like? Are you going out of your way to lower your stress and manage your stress in a meaningful way? So when we look at the statistic, regardless of your current weight, being active at the end of the day will increase your HDL, which is your good cholesterol, right? And decreases the bad cholesterols that are responsible for clogging your arteries, which is what is absolutely leading people to have so much heart disease. It also reduces your blood pressure, alleviates excess stress on your heart. So this in itself is always, good factors that you want to consider. These just a slight shift, right? These are shifts that even just increasing your exercise or your movement by 30 minutes a day can mediate and mean literally the difference between life and death, and creating healthy blood flow, which then in turn lowers your risk of cardiovascular disease. And your whole family deserves this, right? So you might say, oh, I'm just doing this for me, or I'm just doing this I'm just doing this so that you have your own reason. I can play with my kids, or I can do whatever, right? But one of the biggest things I've learned as a parent is that my kids aren't they're not doing what I say, right? My girls are almost 5 and 7. They're really not doing what I say right now, but they are doing what I do, right? And Dave and I are finding so often now that we're coming across these little things that they're saying or doing, or teaching their friends lifestyle choices, right? And I'll often hear them say, we exercise to stay healthy, or this is what we eat to stay healthy, or we use our magic oils to stay healthy, right? And as a parent, God, that feels good, right? I feel good in my body because I'm doing these things, but I feel even better as a parent because this is what my kids are seeing, and this is then what they're repeating, right? Also, other things, and a thing that really rings close to my heart, not just the increase of things like cardiovascular disease, but the increase of things like diabetes, right? Many of the diseases that can be associated with lack of physical activity were once considered, adult diseases. However, they have really, unfortunately, graduated to commonly affecting adolescents as well. So, for example, the rate of children with diabetes has been increasing steadily over the last 15 years, okay? Really increasing, at a crazy rapid rate. Luckily, regular exercise can prevent things like obesity, which then influences and balances out the blood glucose levels, right? Gets that insulin moving throughout your body, which is what your body needs in order to help maintain. And so obviously right now I'm talking about type 2 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disease that your pancreas, your body attacks your pancreas. Pancreas doesn't work anymore, right? It doesn't create the beta cells that produce insulin. Even more reason to keep your immune system up, right? Type 2 diabetes is a completely different story. It's completely lifestyle, 100% lifestyle. I talk to a lot of people that are, well, my dad had it, my grandpa had it, and it must be genetic. Such a small percentage of the reason that diabetes exists is from a genetic component. It is a component, but it's such a small one. And I don't like to see people use that as a crutch when typically it's not the genetic reason. It's you've developed the same health habits as your dad, as your grandpa, as your great grandpa that also had type 2 diabetes. Okay. So I'm going to throw that one out there, controversial or not. It's what I do, right? Luckily, again, there's a way, and I love And I wish with type 1 that it was the same way, but we are working on it to reverse those symptoms, right? But you can do that, right? So if you've been told you're pre-diabetic, it's not too late. It's just the beginning. That was your crap moment, your aha moment, right? For you to kind of get in the game. Another thing that we're seeing a huge increase in because of our lack of movement is our increase in cancer, right? So according actually to a Seattle Cancer Research Center, 35% of all cancer deaths have been linked back to overweight and sedentary lifestyles. So just exercising on a regular basis inherently lowers your risk of so many cancers, including colon, breast, lung, and endometrial cancer. So if you have any sort of cancer in your family, again, small link back to genetics, but so much of it is environmental, right? And you see this conversation happening a lot in the vaccination world. But again, regardless of what your beliefs are around that, vaccination or not, we're not dying from measles, mumps, rubella. We are dying from cancer, heart disease, diabetes, all lifestyle factors. Okay, this is what we're dying from right now, right? Things that can be absolutely prevented, but it's on such a huge scale that we need to. This is where I am such a huge believer that if I just empower you and you get like one trickle of information out of this that goes, like then my work here is done. I feel amazing. So not only does it increase your risk of disease, think of what it's doing to you, because some people don't dig like prevention. I dig prevention, but you might be thinking, oh yeah, okay, it'll prevent me from getting those in the future. Think of what it's doing for you right now. Think about your brain power, okay? Exercise truly feeds the brain. It increases oxygen levels, circulation, hormone secretion, and these hormones that are responsible for boosting cognitive ability and focus and concentration. These are things that we need right here, right now, right? You may feel like you're after exercising, you might think that you're thinking more clearly, and that's your body's way of exhibiting the chemical shift that it's experienced, right? Because of the movement. So an active body equals a sharp mind, period. And if this wasn't enough, exercise also stimulates brain chemicals that are responsible for altering your mood as well. So the reaction leaves you feeling less stressed, more relaxed, confident, happy, and just clear, so that you can just sit back and just feel the joy, right? And this again is beneficial to everyone, to your toddlers, to you, to your parents, right? So I really want you to think about that, right? Prevention and the current moment. There's tons of benefits to just making this a family affair, right? Exercise in itself has so many benefits, but there's some specific to implementing this within your family's structure. So some of these include added accountability, providing a meaningful bonding experience, like doing the things together as a family, serving as a positive role model. We already kind of touched on that, right? Your kids aren't doing what you say, they're doing what you do. Establishing lifelong healthy habits, learning new ways to have fun, and being active as a family. There's so many physical, mental, emotional, and developmental benefits that come from exercising. So it's hard to kind of make excuses around that, right? But the thing is that we do make excuses, and trust me, I'm one of them. It's so easy for me to talk myself out of a workout, right? But again, that knowledge of what it's doing to my health if I don't do it regularly, and the fact that I know my 4 little eyeballs are watching me, all of the time, that's what gets me out and going, right? And the fact that I now have like extra reasons on why I want to live forever. It's kind of awesome, right? We all want to, ensure that our families are healthy and happy. And, we're made aware of all the benefits of physical activity and how crucial it can be in our lifehood. But what's actually stopping us, right? The thing is that life gets busy. Schedule exercise that when, it might seem like a huge, unenjoyable time commitment, right? But I'm curious to hear, and I want you to post, what are some of the major difficulties that are keeping you and your family from currently working out, right? And that might look a little bit different, and we're going to dive into that. But I know, I'm kind of at that stage where, moms will say to me, well, I run around with my toddlers. That's enough. Yes, absolutely. You're running around with your toddler. Or I'm running my kids from this sport to this sport to this sport, right? But if we're running them to there, we're, depending on how we've worked our schedule, which is another class for another time, we've put out stress hormones to get us there, and then we sit while they do their sport, right? We sit on the bleachers, we sit on the whatever, right? We sit while they do their thing, and then we get back in the car and we drive somewhere else, right? So I encourage you to think, how can you work even when your kids are doing the physical activities that you've signed them up for? How can you then engage yourself as well? Okay, kind of exercise 101. Increasing your family's activity level doesn't necessarily mean you have to set everyone up with, this crazy routine with, all of these. No, that's not necessary. And it's not even like a thing that you have to dedicate, an hour a day wishing you were doing something else, right? Instead, try incorporating physical activity into your life with fun activities that are inherently active, right? So here, I'm going to give you guys some examples, right? So aerobic training, right? You can go to a boot camp, or you can experience these things with your kids too, because this type of exercise, this is the type of thing that brings up your heart rate and challenges your heart and your lungs to function. So think of things like running, biking, swimming. These are all cardio-based activities, okay? Strength training. So this is sometimes referred to as resistance training, but what it does is it actually builds strength and endurance within your muscles. So such things like lifting weights, body-weighted exercises, such as push-ups or squats. And then there's flexibility training. So flexibility is kind of your range of motion of your joints and your mobility of your muscles. So this can be trained by stretching and doing other things like yoga, right? So let's talk about even where to begin, right? So those are kind of the sections of types of exercise. It's one thing to say that you're going to go and work out, and it's Monday. Everybody starts their workouts. I'm starting on Monday. Everybody starts their stuff on Monday. And it's one thing to say that you're going to be working out, and another to be actually doing it. So like many things, starting is often the most difficult part. So here are some of the tips I just want to introduce you to kind of think. And if one of them resonates with your family, I want you to jot it down, right? But the first thing I recommend before you kind of dive into that is I want you to start where you are. It's common to get hung up on, your either your current fitness level or that number on the scale or what your schedule looks like, blah, 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 yada, 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 right? Make sure to just ignore those negative comments you tell yourself, right? We are our worst enemy, and we stop ourselves from starting so many good things. So even, everyone starts somewhere, even beginners, right? And I know even the gym that I go to, there's all different age groups, right? And my kids love going to the gym, and even doing like some of the like kids programs, or I can see them in the kind of care area while I'm working out, right? But they love going there. They love the energy and the atmosphere, right? So don't let that hold you back. Okay, you have to start somewhere and acknowledge that you're starting, and eventually, and every single day you're going to see a new person coming in, right? That's just getting started. And just like with your kids, you're their role model, right? Um, and the next thing, make just one change at a time, right? Well, it's super exciting to add, exercise into your family's life all at once. It's not really realistic, and it's not sustainable, to go from no physical activity to, everybody's running a 10K. So start small, incorporate small changes, at little small changes at a time, so that the transition has a little bit more ease and it doesn't burn anyone out. Okay. And again, so that it's actually sustainable and that you'll actually keep doing it. Next, determine your individual goals. So everyone is different, including the members of your family. I know when I look at the dynamics of my own household, all of us are completely different. So try to establish a time for yourself, even to do some reflection where everyone has an opportunity to identify what they want, right? And even, my oldest daughter right now, her biggest thing is she wants to become more flexible, right? And so when I'm doing my stretching, or Dave's doing his stretching, or we're doing our yoga, we make sure that she specifically is involved with that, because she wants to learn how to do a back walkover. I think they're all doing gymnastics at school, so that's where she's at. And maybe gymnastics is something that she'll want to join. Who knows, right? But I know that Dave and I do regular things to help us with I don't want to be more flexible. I just want to maintain what I have, right? But stretching and yoga is a huge part of that, right? So I make sure that she's involved with that. And just kind of see where they're at. Next, I want you to create a routine. So don't get too strict, but collect your family schedule, know what it is, and see how exercise can fit into everyone's lives without too much kind of tug on their current obligations. So remember that the goal is that you're in this together, and that you want to do this together. I always try to remember you are the average of the top 5 people that you associate yourself with. And again, this is where people get into the habit of saying that certain things are genetic or whatever. And it's not necessarily genetics. It's the fact that you just all have the same bad habits that are it's like the culture of your house, right? And then it's taught from generation to generation. What would that look like? And could you imagine how powerful that would be if everyone did it together, right? And really sticking together. And again, like I said before, holding each other accountable. So first step is to get moving. So sometimes the most simple advice I can give you is just do it. Do it. Just don't wait till Monday. If you're watching this on Tuesday, don't wait till next Monday. Start tomorrow or right now, right? But I'm going to give you some ideas of things that you can do. Family walks. Okay, this is something that we do regularly, and it's one of those things that's really good to fit in, especially, it's spring, right? So we get, lots of rain depending on where you're at, right? But it's something you can do in between kind of rain as well, right? But it's officially nice, right? And depending on where you are, I know most of you are watching in from around Canada, and I know what your Canadian winters are like, right? You're so stoked to just be outside, right? But go for a walk, before or after a family meal, right? It's a great way to get everyone involved, get them moving, get them enjoying time together, and you can find even a designated route, or occasionally allow your children to pick the direction, so that it increases their engagement. And Dave and I will often walk out of the house and we'll say, okay, girls, which way are we going, right? Or what park are we choosing? We have a lot of different parks to choose from around our house. and we'll go there, right? The girls love it. And then they have a destination that they're getting to. Next tip, dancing. Oh my God, we love dance parties in our house. Very few people will say, chores are fun, even. But on the other hand, very few people say that dancing isn't fun. Dancing is so fun. Even my husband, who's not a dancer, oh man, in the comfort of our own home, he's got some moves, right? So even, whether it's a random, uh, you know, party breakout, we have our favorite playlist that we love to just start dancing to. And I'm just soaking up that our girls are still just young enough that we can just each pick them up and dance, right? They're not going to be like that forever. So I'm soaking all that in. But even, doing things like, if you saw me in the kitchen, you would see me cooking and dancing, doing dishes and dancing, sweeping the floors and dancing, risky business. I love music is always going in our house, right? Outside of this 45 minutes, music is off, but typically music is always, always, always going. And it's always time for dance party. So dancing is an incredible way to get your heart rate up without you actually feeling like you're even exercising, okay? Even if you have like a set of, say, TV shows that you guys love to watch, we don't really, we're more of a, if we watch TV, it's usually like Netflix or something now. We don't even have cable anymore. But you could do like commercial break fitness. Not a lot of people have cable anymore, but if you do, you could do something like that. But becoming active doesn't mean you have to give up the things that you love. So even I have like my favorite, I guess, series that I like to watch on Netflix, but I don't even let myself watch them unless I'm on the elliptical or the treadmill. Don't even let myself watch them. It's just something that takes it's like guaranteed 45 minutes of me just doing some cardio, right? And sometimes we'll do that with the kids too. Like if it is a consistent rainy day, I'll be like, we need to like get some exercise moving. Let's go. We have some exercise equipment down in our basement. I'm like, let's go downstairs, and we're getting on it. And I'll put, I'll just bring an iPad down or something, and I'll either blast some music or I'll put on a show, and they take turns going on, right? And they actually love doing that. Versus sometimes when I'm like, all right, let's go for a walk. It's not as exciting, right? Even workout outside. Okay, so you can even make like yard work into exercising. Gardening in particular is such a great way to get moving and to let your kids even just play in the dirt. We planted our flowers last weekend, and that was exactly it. I showed them what a weed looked like, gave them some gloves, which they love to wear, because I told them they didn't even have to wear gloves, but they wanted to wear the gloves, and got right down in there, right? Or even if, depending on how many people you have in your family, team up. So whether it's like mini soccer or, wiffle ball, whatever encourages you to kind of get on a team, partner up with your neighbors, right? And get out and start moving, right? So even for Easter, our kids got just, a baseball glove and baseball and a bat and skipping ropes. And I'm looking at all the things they have over there right now. Just lots of different things for them to be a skip it, like things for them to be active outside, right? And encourage movement. And so doing things like that, or even my girls and I will often, when I say often, I mean really often, we do hopscotch squares with the sidewalk chalk, and we play hopscotch over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. But it's, again, we're jumping around and we're getting our hearts up, okay? At-home exercise can be so fun, right? And these exercises are foundational movements that are appropriate for all ages, right? So doing things like even squatting, so placing your feet at a hips width apart, bend your knees deep. And if, you're as if you're like going to sit on an imaginary chair, right? Be sure your knees don't extend out over your toes, but sticking your arms straight out in front and just doing some squats, right? So again, if the girls and I need to get out some energy, whether it was a snowy winter day or a rainy spring day, right? Doing some squats, doing some planks. My youngest daughter is 4. She can plank like a really good plank for a crazy amount of time. It's insane. Did you see there actually was a person that just in Canada won the world record for longest plank? It was over 4 hours. That could be Allie one day. Who knows? But if you place your elbows on the ground, your forearms straight in front, raise your body onto your toes, create a straight line from your heels to the back of from your shoulders right to the back of your heels, and then hold it for even just 30 seconds to a minute. This is such a great exercise. Or even we like make games out of it while you're planking. Like my kids will try to like shimmy underneath of me, and if they're doing a plank, or whatever, right? There's so many different things that you can do. Same with push-ups, right? Crunches, different ab exercises, core workouts. Because the biggest thing, and I've unfortunately or fortunately, I don't really know, been having to have conversations with my oldest daughter lately around, ultimately it comes down to body image, right? And what she thinks body image is, and how that, I don't know how she needs to look at her own body, right? And we don't talk in terms of thin, fat, big, small, tall, short. We talk in terms of fit, right? And I tell my girls, I'm like, your goal is to be fit in your body, right? To really feel good in your body. It's not about a number. It's not about a size. It's about feeling just really good and really healthy, right? And to know that you are doing everything that you can in order to help your body be the best that it is, right? So we've been, having these conversations a little bit more in depth, which is like crazy to me that at 6 it has to happen, but it's happening, right? But sometimes, this might be perfect timing for you too. Who knows, right? But I feel like it's something that's really predominant in our house right now. And I mean, this is with a little person that has grown up with this lifestyle, right? And it's still a conversation that I'm having. So sometimes it's even nice to have some instruction, right, already laid out for you. So I'm actually going to post for you some really great workout videos for you and your family. So specifically, there's ones on like 25-minute daddy, mommy, and toddler workouts, 10-minute total body circuits for kids. So I'm going to post those links in the comments. So feel free to go on YouTube and just look them up. Other things that we love to do on YouTube are kids yoga. So if you go to Cosmic Kids, it is a really fun, and I'll put that in the comments as well. It's a really fun and interactive way to introduce kids to yoga. Because a lot of the foundational yoga poses mimic just natural movements of their bodies, right? But they'll incorporate it into, popular Disney movies, or, and they have ones that cater to all ages. So like, there's one my girls love to do. It's the Disney Frozen themed one, and they'll go up in a tall pose, just like Elsa's castle, right? And they point out to, like, that's the way they mimic it. My girls are just so excited to be tall like her castle. Even, maybe you're a family that travels a lot, right? So even while you're vacationing, and I know family vacations, Dave and I say this often, I'm sure you do too, where it's like, oh, I need a vacation for my vacation, right? Traveling can really disrupt, obviously, your routines, right? But luckily, there's really easy things that you can just keep in mind, so that you can introduce intentional physical activity versus, I walked around the port that day, or I walked around here or there. You can even plan where you're going so you can fit some physical activity in, right? Even doing things like parking your car further in the parking lot to lengthen your walk into, if you're going into a building, or vow against elevators and take the stairs all the time. Dave and I do this. We love to cruise, and we do that when you're on a cruise ship, right? It's obviously it's only so big, right, lengthwise. The elevators are usually congested anyways, so we take the stairs everywhere. And I think the last one we had went on, in the 7 days that we were on the boat, we only took the stairs twice. And that was when I think we were on like the 4th floor, and we had to go up to the 18th floor, and I was in heels. And that just wasn't happening. So I think that was the only time, but we were like, holy crap, we just went an entire week without, doing an elevator, which was awesome. But set goals, even to like, but right before you leave, and then you're more likely to stick to them, right? So many people will say, and I hear this often, that they're like, I actually exercised more when I was on vacation than when I wasn't, right? And I think it's because you've given yourself permission to do nothing else, right? Typically, even your phone was left at home, everything, right? So how can you get creative and fun with it? But the key is taking action, okay? The American Heart Association recommends a minimum of 30 minutes of moderate to intensity physical activity at least 5 days a week, okay? 30 minutes. There is 24 hours in a day. And I know some of you are like, ugh, throwing your phone right now, not even interested that I just said that. But you might want to check how you're fitting your schedule. And again, I have an entire class on how you can really own your schedule. And what in a nutshell, what I recommend that people do is, I want you to take 24 hours in a day, and I want you to block off your key things that you need for you before you block anybody else in. So I want you to put in 8 hours of sleep, block off 8. I want you to put in an hour of meals, like eating or meal prep, in a day. And I want you to put in at least 30, 40, 60 minutes of intentional movement every single day. And I'm telling you, if you can sleep, eat, and move every day, I don't need to block in stress management time or whatever else, because you won't need it. You won't need it, right? So that's try it, and you'll thank me after. But maybe it's, you want to look at what's attainable for your family. Okay, it's where you are now, right? And focus on including exercises into your lives in a sustainable way, right? But I really encourage, and we've even started, and Dave and I have made an intentional decision that, our kids aren't going to play in 20 different sports, right? For this reason, right? Because there's certain things that and there's nothing wrong with playing in 20 different sports if that's what your kids do. That's just not because of the way we want to live our lifestyles as well, and then ultimately teach through example. Maybe that's conducive to your family. For ours, that's an intentional decision that we're making. And I know that there's some parents that are like, really, but if your kids aren't busy, they're going to get caught up in, I don't know. I knew kids growing up that were still big athletes and aren't taking very good care of themselves right now. So you have to decide, right? But I think there's such an opportunity for you to do this as a family, and for you to get moving. And again, not just lead by example, but to really show them some really good habits, right? That they will then take into their later years. right? Improving your physical fitness and introducing your family requires, it's a lot of effort, right? But it is like so beyond rewarding, right? When you see those little trickles, getting in there with them. And it is guaranteed to amplify your family's quality of life, your health, your emotions. It also serves as an amazing bonding experience, a chance to spend just more quality time together and to really establish lifelong healthy habits, which is the goal, right? There's so much value in adding in exercise into your routine. So I really want to thank you guys. Hope you got some little tidbits here and there. I love sharing this topic with people who are just really eager to transform their health. And if you've stuck it out this long, that's exactly what is on your heart and on your mind. But I have had a blast with you. Thank you for joining me outside. Stay tuned. As long as it is not raining, we will be outside for the next few months. But I hope that you enjoy this last week of May. June is like sneaking up before we know it. And we have so much in store for you. So much in store for you during the month of June. So stay tuned. Have an awesome day, you guys. See ya.